Welcome back to another episode of the Better Planner podcast. As always, I've got Colin Page with me. Colin, how are you?
Good, Taylor. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, I'm Taylor. What's new? How are things?
Man, things are good. Um, just, ferrying children around to various appointments, events, practices.
No, it's a great
Yeah,
job to be able to do that in.
it definitely. Uh, yeah, can't complain. I mean, finished with surge meeting season and yeah, get my days back or time to work on other projects and tinker
Yeah.
and then go on a bike ride with the kids.
What's the number one thing you're going to tinker with?
Oh, I'm getting knee deep in a Zap right now on Zapier, trying to yeah, get it. When a Calendly meeting is booked, get it to create a meeting record in or sync up with a meeting record in Salesforce. Just
That's fun. Seems so simple, doesn't it?
you would think. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all the edge cases that make me glad I'm not a developer and not, having to think about all that stuff every day.
The edge cases are where all the yeah. There's always edge cases you can't think of. So totally. Well, like this is our third episode now. We kind of had a chain going here where we talked about, first one was getting clear on what you do for clients, and then the prospecting process. And I think kind of like we're kind of almost working backwards. We started with the end of what you do for clients, and then like what's the prospecting flow. I think we wanted to talk about marketing today, of like how do you actually then find the clients to do that prospecting flow or onboarding flow, and then actually work with them. So caveat, neither of us are claim to be expert marketers. There's some amazing marketing resources, but we've both somehow stumbled our way into finding people that work with us and, very gratefully have a decent lead flow. And so let's just talk about what we've done and what's worked and what didn't work and how you found what worked for you. And so, I think another thing just off the top is we have just such different styles altogether. And I think that's going to come out in like what we talk about here. But what would you say? Tell me like your marketing journey of just how you got to where you are, what didn't work, what's working for you now.
Yeah, I mean, I came into this, career changer, no real marketing experience, period. Barely had a LinkedIn profile, not a big social media user. And so like, I mean, I didn't even know what a marketing funnel was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's also, something I don't love doing. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not a salesperson, not a active on social media, not a, just makes me feel weird. I mean, it's just out of my
You're
comfort
just
zone.
a simple 75-year-old man in a 40-year-old's body, or however old you
Yeah,
are.
you're not lying. Yeah, my wife would probably say the same thing. Although that was what attracted.
I believe you're steady and stable, which I think is what attracts people to you. Yeah, good. Sorry.
No, I mean, I feel like I tried everything. I tried on a lot of hats. Early on, it was, Instagram when I was trying to, figure out who I was. And I guess it started all with blog posts. That has been the one, through line, through all of this is starting and keeping an active blog
Mm-hmm.
just on my website. I
That
started it
you
back when I was
wrote,
going, say again.
that you wrote too. I think that's important. We'll talk about it, but you write your posts.
I do write my posts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and originally I wrote every single word of it and sent it off to my dad to spell check it. So,
Well, he's
yeah, I
not
mean
very good
now,
either, because everybody, if you don't know, Colin will have a misspelling in anything that he
it,
publicizes. It is a rule. And actually, right before the call, we were just laughing about, he did a LinkedIn post and there was uh, like the fourth word was misspelled, and I love it. And it's just, that's great. So sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
So your blog post, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean that's been the through line, and I've tried to leverage those in different ways, whether it was like turning it into an Instagram post or posting them to Facebook or LinkedIn, and that's you know uh, sending it out in a newsletter. Um, So that's, I mean, everything has come back to the blog and the actual like content or the articles I've written. I think I was saying, when I started when I was doing the CFP coursework, and I just figured, the best way to learn something is to try to teach it. And so for each topic, try to write a post on it, in a format that would be digestible to the client and provide relevant examples and get the reps in terms of how to communicate, what can be complex financial topics into a relatable, um, 300, 500, no more than 1,000 word post.
Yeah. So it seems, because I've watched this, like I remember the Instagram days, and that was just painful, and all the formatting and the posting and everything. But
I'm
like,
terrible at Canva. It's
yeah,
just brutal.
yeah, it is. But blogs, it seems like it's blogs. You've just written original blog posts, and it's a library of content, and people, it's a proof, whatever authority, whatever the word is there, like people just read the blog posts and they connect with you. You're not a big video guy. I'm not sure I've ever really seen you record a video with you talk outside of these podcasts.
No, I've recorded like I tried it and I hit the record button like 10 times and did 10 different drafts of it and I hated
Yeah.
every single one of it.
Yeah, you would just sit there and overthink the whole thing. Okay, so
Totally.
that's been helpful. But what about like how do people find you, to even know you have a blog? How about that? Like yeah,
Yeah.
how do people find you?
So, I've when we were going through XYPN and launching our firms, I mean, the big push was to niche down, and that
Mhm.
was how you made yourself visible, was to get really clear on a specific, subset of clients you wanted to work with, so that you could tailor your marketing to that. And I think that is all true. It's much easier to market when you have a specific person in mind that you're trying to write to, and I didn't take that advice. I wanted to build kind of a locally focused, maybe an old school style advisory practice where 90+% of my clients lived within a 30-mile radius, and we'd meet in my office, and so from the beginning I knew that SEO would be important, search
Mhm.
engine optimization. Um, and that was, I worked with, what is it, the Fee Only Network.
Mhm.
And, the guy there, what's his name?
I think it's Alan Slider.
Yeah, Alan. Yeah, he came on and gave me some pointers about the website and how to
Mhm.
make it show up on Google searches locally.
Mhm.
Because a little guy like me is not going to show up high on Google
Mhm.
rankings anywhere besides like my local area. uh,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, I think that is the number one like window by which clients have found me,
Mhm.
is just on
Googling you.
Google
Local clients
and
Googling.
local clients Googling. Um, and I think that's still the case, even though people are talking about, instead of search engine optimization, but AI
Mm. Yeah.
optimization. Uh, it's still local,
Mm.
locally driven, and yeah, directly through the website. It's like your storefront. Uh,
Totally. Tell me about your website. Like, so you built it yourself, correct?
Yeah. It's been, yeah, built it myself. It's been through many, many iterations. I mean, that's one thing I like. It's a blessing and a curse for having built it myself, is it like in 10 seconds I can change something. But that also means like I'm constantly tweaking and overthinking it. And so it's
What'd
been
you
through a
build?
lot of
What'd you
iterations.
and you built it on Squarespace? Is that right?
Built it on Squarespace, still on Squarespace. Um, for somebody without a development web design background, it's got everything you
Is
need.
there, yeah. Is there anything messaging wise that you think has worked really well?
That has worked really well. I mean, we could talk about the whole like structure of like your homepage, and I think that's been the biggest
Here, I'm
like
gonna since we are doing a
change over
video,
time. You want to
let's
critique it?
I'm gonna pull it up. Uh,
Yeah,
so here, this is Colin's website,
yeah,
Oakley Wealth Services. a picture. I'm going to drop my opinion. I'm a huge fan of putting a picture of yourself, but like this is actually relevant. This is actually like where you live. One thing I love about you that I don't know if it's intentional or not, the picture in behind you on your camera looks a lot
Oh,
like
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And so
Clients
I
have
think
noticed
like,
that too.
yeah, if you're not going to put yourself on there, I think this is like at least big, like I grew up in Nebraska and I know an advisor has the freaking sailboat photo on the ocean. I'm like, this is insane. Stop it. So anyways, okay. So,
Yeah, if I see another website, advisor website with
yeah,
sailboats, and I
yeah,
like to sail, so it's relevant to me, but it's just an overused. I mean, this is my opinion, but
yeah. Okay.
just an
So
overused
simple
trope.
picture, make the most of your money.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I didn't even. I've learned that that's called a hero and a call to action.
so
um,
okay, you got your statement. Hold on. I'm gonna just get it like lay the land. So what we do, very clear on what we do, tax efficient planning, investment management, who you serve, very clear. You're like disqualifying people right off the bat. You're nice and
Yeah,
say, don't fit one
that's
of
been
these.
unlocked too with marketing. It's like you're not just trying to like get people to reach out. You're trying to get the right people to reach
Mm-hmm.
out.
Oh,
And so the faster you can turn somebody away who's not going to be a good fit, like,
mm-hmm.
and that's scary at first when you're starting out. And I didn't do that. And I got, clients that weren't great fits. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, putting it right up front. Who do you work with?
Yeah.
Super helpful.
Yeah. And then why we're different, you kind of, I mean, you lay out the things people want to know. You're answering all their questions in their mind. Clear next steps. That's so good. Holy crap. Okay. So simple, whatever. Your heroes just relatable. Like, oh, if you're local, you hear that this isn't turning anybody off. Then that's fine. That's pretty standard intro, whatever. But then very clearly what we do, who we serve, why we're different. So it's clear on what you do. You've disqualified the people. So people are funneling through this, right? Like, okay, am I
Mm-hmm.
one of these? I'll keep
Mm-hmm.
reading. And then why we're different. This is probably checking off a lot of their boxes. And then very clear next steps. Oh, that's great. And
Yeah.
then if you're not sure yet, you can do this. You, that's great. And you know what's funny? Your header's not even sticky, so I have to scroll back up to get to your blog. But if you wanted to, you can go to your articles, and this is your article list.
There's the blog. Yeah. Yeah, I try to put now it's about one post a month. At the beginning it was more often, but that's all I can manage right now. Uh,
This is so. This is so, and you got services and fees, and you show them. Okay, good marketing language, what we offer, what you get. Wow, that's a lot of text.
yeah, that's one that could probably use some tightening up, the services
Yeah,
and
that's interesting.
fees portion. But if somebody's like engaged enough to they're thinking about reaching out, like
Yeah.
those are all questions they're going to have, and I'd rather
Well,
them answer them themselves as opposed to
yeah, as I say, people talk about like lack of transparency with advisor compensation. You're like almost overly transparent. But no, this is okay. So they got their services and fees. Like people, this is why, especially if you look back at your prospecting process, like you're giving people so many chances to disqualify themselves. Like, are you in the right stage to hear what you do, how we work, how much it costs? Like nobody's reaching out unless they're like in. And
yeah.
then they can, and then do you have more, want to know more? Browser administrator. Man, you dialed this thing in. This is great. Um, that's good. But also, I want to say something like this is simple in all the right ways. Like it's not over designed. Like you've got a picture, a simple hero. I love it. I think so many websites designers get in the way.
Mm.
Like they try to make it look better rather than just communicate. And I mean, like how many times I go to a really cool website that looks great and I have no clue what they do. I have no clue.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I think about this a lot. So this is awesome. And this
Yeah.
is yeah. And then you got yourself. Okay, so we can finally see who you are. You got Marie, who's a rock star, who helps you out. Articles, and that's our podcast, which I want to talk about our podcast in a little bit. And then your normal FAQ, so you can keep disqualifying people. God, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all designed to get people to schedule an intro call. and that's kind of the goal that we all want, is somebody to actually take that step to reach out and give you a chance to, learn about them, win their business. Hopefully they're qualified, and you've weeded out the ones that aren't. But I
Mhm.
think the other unlock that I had, or is that, kind of that not ready yet option. So there's that call to action, schedule a call, but then there's kind of an easy off ramp. Like if someone's
Mhm.
just browsing, they're not quite ready to, make a phone call, or have, get
Mhm.
on a call with you, because that's, that can be scary. That's putting yourself out there. That's opening
Mhm.
yourself up to being sold.
Mhm.
So I put together, again, it goes back to the blog. Like I took some, 10 foundational blog posts that I'd
Mhm.
written, and combined them into, an ebook,
Mhm.
20, 30 pages, that, for giving me your email address and first name, you can download it.
Yeah. And then
That
do
gets you
they
on my newsletter list. It gets you, it gets you into, a series of maybe 4 emails that get auto sent over the course of a month, that help walk people, through a longer journey to get to,
what do you
scheduling an intro call.
what do you use to send or manage the newsletter?
The newsletter, I send it out through MailChimp. Same with the kind of email drip,
Mhm.
for somebody that signs up to the newsletter. They get 1 email a week for about 4 or 5 weeks. And
So
those emails are just all blog content.
yeah.
My greatest hits.
Yeah.
Not trying to sell anybody
Yeah.
anything in
Yeah.
those emails. It's just like, here's something interesting that's probably relevant to you if you're browsing, a retirement financial planner's website.
So you got your website that we just walked through, and then there's this kind of what I call lead magnet, like you're not sure the top 10 myths or whatnot that they can download and they get something immediately. And then there's two parts. There's kind of an email sequence, which is just blog posts,
Hmm.
and then your newsletter. Tell us about your newsletter.
Yeah, newsletter. I send it out once a month, to all clients and anybody that's signed up for the list. It used to be really, over engineered. It
Mm-hmm.
looked like a newspaper, like the New York Times site, where I had different blog posts. I had links to, podcasts, episodes that we've done. A short little intro, paragraph, things that are upcoming in the calendar year,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's Medicare open enrollment, or, some kind of timely advice. In the last like 6 months, I went back to basics. And now I just send a simple text newsletter once a month. And I've found that, like, the topics that get the most responses from clients, from prospects, from whoever, are the ones that are more, or that are, or softer, on
Mm-hmm.
the more behavioral or spiritual sides of managing money, and not the stuff that's like technical. Here's how you do a backdoor Roth. Here's
Yep.
how you save on taxes in retirement. So it's
Here's
interesting that, like, that's the stuff that actually gets traction, and I've gotten way more engagement from
look,
putting out a
look
single
how simple this
newsletter.
is. This is this month's. You just oh wow, 4 hours ago. This is today's. Look, that's so simple.
It's simple, yeah.
That's
I think
great.
people are overwhelmed with, like, marketing content. It's just so transparent. And that was what changed it for me. It was like, I hate getting those emails that are
Yeah.
overly formatted and clearly, um, clearly marketing. And it's like, I want to put out something that I would actually want to read. Um,
Yeah. I think that's an insanely good filter across the board that I want to talk about is just write like if like for me like just write what's interesting to you, write and talk about what's interesting to you. It will be interesting. You'll be passionate about it, and that passion will connect, and it will be interesting to the people who it needs to be. If you force yourself to try to write stuff for other people, unless you're a really good writer, I think it's hard. But okay, so we've looked at your website. It's good, but it's simple. It communicates just very little. Who we serve, what we do, who we serve, blah, blah, next steps. Then you got your lead gen or your lead magnet, which is just repurposed blog posts. And then you've got your blog posts and you got your newsletter.
That's it.
That's great. Now, I will say, caveat, like Colin is a very good writer. He is a very good writer. I've read a lot of your stuff. I've always jokingly said, like, you're better writing than on video. So, like, that's why I had to drag
as
you
long
into
as I have a spell checker. They need a there's no spell check for
but I think that's huge.
for
Of like,
video.
you just got, I drug you into this podcast world, but like your blog, like you literally just write blogs. Your marketing is writing blogs, and you have a good, like a cleaned up distribution system, but it's not anything fancy. Like you write a blog post a month, it sends a newsletter. You probably had to do some setup to get the lead magnet to create the email list to send those 4 blog posts, but like really, you're writing blog posts, and now they're like plain text blog posts, and maybe you add an image for Squarespace. So that's your marketing for the month.
That's it. Yeah. I mean,
great.
I'll go take that newsletter and post it on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. But I don't know how many people actually.
But even like, I would tell
engage
you,
with
like,
it
not
there.
reliably. You don't do it like super consistent. You don't do any of the SEO or like the algorithm optimization stuff. You post the link a lot of times, like right in the post on link. Like, it's like I'm
Yeah, it's
telling
pretty
people this to
lo-fi.
show that like it's simple. Like the reason it works is you have interesting and valuable things to say. That is like, it's we all talk, and I should also mention, like, you're not like, you might have AI review it a little bit now, but like a lot of this was done pre-AI. You built your website without AI. I think even that top 10 myths thing was probably pretty pre-AI. Like
Totally. I mean, I've refined it over time. But yeah.
you write an interesting thing, maybe ideate and have it reviewed with AI, but you have interesting things to say, and that's it. And you're not worried about all the polish and all that stuff that just gets in the way that we're not good at and that can take forever. It's just a really interesting blog post once a month. Now it takes time to get to that point, but that's it. People out there feeling like they need to go do all these things and omni-channel, blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. You just gotta have something interesting to say. I love that. And then, yeah, and then people find the idea, blogs, from what I understand, are very good for SEO too. People search for things, and but primarily people Google you, find the website. We looked at the website. They got all the things. What about our podcast, our client-facing podcast? I want to talk about that for a second, because I think we've both been a little surprised by the results of that, but like the results not necessarily in the way you would think. How is the podcast? We have the Make the Most of Your Money podcast for clients. How has that worked in your marketing flow?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have grand delusions of it being the next Joe Rogan or, uh, Diary of a CEO. But yeah, it was a chance to put myself out there, put ourselves out there, and kind of see what stuck. I mean, it started with, I do have a passion for education,
Yeah.
and like I wanted a way to, that was the same reason I started the blog. Is, not, I can't work with everybody, and not everybody's going to be able to pay my fees or whatever. I just want to put good information out there, just as maybe it's an altruistic thing, or just because I like teaching. So I mean, that was why I said yes to you in the first place. I think what it's actually become is not so much a marketing channel, but like a way for prospects to verify that,
Yes.
like, what the hell you're talking about, and hear your voice and understand how you think
Yeah.
about things. And you can get some of that from the blog posts as well. But it probably comes across even more so in the
Yeah.
podcast format.
Yeah. I think a couple of really interesting things there is that you talk about for education. Like, I was like looking at your post, like there's not like they don't lead to something at the end.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I mean, just like,
I
go ahead.
tried that early on, like,
Yeah.
and if this struck a nerve, this is reach out, and like, I don't know that I didn't collect great data or anything on
Yeah.
that, but anecdotally, that did nothing.
I think, but like the point is, like, it wasn't like, let me sit down and like create a marketing machine. You're like, let me write some interesting stuff that's interesting to me that would help teach other people.
Mm.
Out of it,
Yeah,
right? And I just think
yeah.
like it just works so well if you have something interesting to say. But I love it. Great job. Good
Thank
job.
you.
Yeah, the podcast. I want to talk about the podcast because I'm a huge fan of it. And yeah, the story on that was I like to talk. Colin likes to write. And I was like, I really want to do a podcast. I don't want to make it all just about me. Do this podcast. And I said, let's just do 5 episodes. Let's just talk about let's commit to 5 episodes, talk about stuff that's interesting to us. If we hate it, we'll kill it. And that was it. That was like literally the only pressure. And our early ones weren't very good. And then we got a little bit better. I don't know. I still think we're not great at it, but like that was it. There was no grand designs. I don't post super frequently with that one. We've kind of paused it off and on. And neither of us thought we were going to have a Joe Rogan podcast. We're not going to get a Spotify. There was no point of that. It was, let's share some interesting stuff. And a couple of benefits have come from that. For sure, the verification thing. Almost every prospect I get at AdWorks says, I listen to your first episode of your podcast. I listen to the first episode of your podcast. Like, you connect with people. But also with writing any content generation, like good content, you have to think very clearly for it to be of any value. And so for us, like, I think, like, I remember those early episodes, we struggled so much of like, we thought it was clear, and then we'd press record and be like, I don't know what I'm going to say. And it makes you better. And it's kind of like a dry run. And just for some reference, like I think our typical episode over there with like no marketing does like 50 to 80 listens. And then we don't push it at all. And I mean, I know that's not great. We could do more, but I'm just telling people, like, it's basically an exercise. Like, I handle all this, but we hop into Riverside, we click record, we talk about something interesting. It edits most of it for us and it downloads. So like, that's just another, like, I'm a huge fan of podcasts. The world doesn't need another one, obviously, but the right people want to listen to it. And it's, if anything, it's beneficial for you, the advisor, to like practice talking. And so, I just think I'm a huge fan of that as well. And I think, like, don't go into it with the expectation of like, we're going to have a huge following. You don't need to. You just need the right person to listen to the right episode one time.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Be clear about what you're going into it for. Like, are you going into it to find clients who fit your model, or are you going into it to drive clicks, views? Because those are very different objectives. And like, one of them's a whole lot easier than the other.
Well, and I think also, like, there can be so much pressure. Like, we have to post bi-weekly and all this stuff. And like, there's some good accountability, but like, there's no rules to any of this. You can just like publish when it's interesting, like respectfully, like nobody's sitting around like, oh, it's Tuesday morning. Where's my Make the Most of Your Money podcast episode? Like, we don't, I know that. Just, it's nice to be a little bit consistent. And I'm sure if you want to build an audience, you can be much more disciplined, but like, you don't have to do any of this. But I just think it's a phenomenal marketing piece. And like, all of this, this isn't news, but like, a blog post can feed into a LinkedIn post, can become a podcast article, which can become video clips. Like, but just start one of them and just having something interesting to say. I think that's great. I think website lessons, like, just keep it simple. Don't over design it. Like, even though yours says, I don't know, it is fairly unique, I think, in just like how simple it lays things out. And you just kind of lean into like, this isn't a bunch of fluff. This is just, I'm just telling you what you want to know. No, I'm not going to try to over engineer this with a bunch of images and graphics. I just think that's great. I see people, especially with like all the AI websites, they all look the same. I don't know. AI is great.
Yeah.
Like for
especially
that,
like AI LinkedIn posts, like you can spot
terrible.
them from a mile away.
Yeah.
The emojis, the M dashes, whatever, and like I assume most people are like us, and they gloss right over them. You know, it's just, yeah. It comes back to what would I want to read and what would I be interested in, and if I were in the market for a financial advisor, like what would speak to me. Because those are, you know, I want to work with people that are smart, intelligent, you know, not just,
again, you said it's your storefront. Somebody's coming by. You got a service they have a need. You're trying to figure out if it's a match. Let them know what you offer. Don't like let them walk by going, I wonder what that place is. And it's exactly what they need because you wanted some fancy image or graphic. You know what I mean? Just like, yes. And then try to talk to them. What would they want to know?
Yeah.
You know? I guess we could talk about mine for a secend.
Yeah.
Just,
I mean, you built yours as well. I mean, there's going to be some overlap for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think we've fed off each other. You know, I think all my FAQs probably came from your website.
Probably came from somebody else's. So yeah, My website is also on Squarespace, which is kind of funny. So this make the most of your money thing. Obviously, that's the name of our podcast. We both have it on the front of our websites. I yeah, there's kind of two parts. Like it's not, financial clarity or whatever. It doesn't immediately tell you what it is, but I hit it right here. So like a marketer might say like, you need to be a little more clear in the hero, but like, I'll get you on the next scroll. I would tell you basically these two sections do the work for me. Um, Interesting hero. I am a massive fan of this video. I can't remember if I talked about it last time. I recorded this video. It's 68 seconds. I edited it in Canva. This is 3 years ago. I recorded it on an iPhone in my downstairs home office. That's it. Not overproduced. And I just spoke from the heart. And this video closes 100% of people one way or the other, for the most part. And if they don't watch it, then it's like they generally connect pretty hard with these two sections. This is mostly SEO stuff. You talked about Alan Slider at Fioli Network. This is basically the language that he recommended people use on their website. And
Yeah,
gosh dang
can you
it.
read it? For
Yeah,
anybody
so
that's
it's basically Ataroke Wealth is a fee-only financial planning and wealth management fiduciary located in McKinney, Texas, where we meet with local clients face-to-face and meet virtually with clients from across the country. Not a natural thing that I would say, and it's a little out of place, but that hits a lot of buckets. And I will tell you from experience, it works. Like
yeah,
that,
that's
like the Google results, I don't track it. Like all of a sudden, meetings started happening. Not I should say
yeah.
all of a sudden. Like over time, some meetings started happening.
And you have to put yourself in Google's position. I mean, like, what is Google? It's a bot that's scrolling your
Yeah,
website text,
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
figure out what it is that you do so that it can serve you up to people who might be interested in you. And so, like, being very explicit in like, this is what I am, this is what I do. That like short one sentence says exactly, what you are, who you work, where you are, who you work with, and that you do it in person, which is
yeah.
great for driving like local
Yeah.
traffic.
And that's
Uh,
another thing I should say. Even though like we talk about across the country, I do have some national clients. Almost all my calls now are local people. They Google you locally. I'm not going to show up on an advisor search in Virginia. But yeah, so it's pretty basic there. And then I like to be very blunt with my services. Like, so there's a flow. So we help you make the most of your money. What does that mean? How do we do it? We give it what you want, which is some phrasing I've kind of nailed down, and build your service around this. Like it's simple. These aren't even, and look, it's not even good. Like it's a Squarespace crappy website that that like expands the other thing. So, but it's just laid out in like the questions people ask. It's not over designed. It like,
yeah. And you're coming down to it, but your services, I love that, like transparency about like, this is how we work with people and this is
yeah.
what we charge.
Oh yeah, all
Um,
about pricing. Then you can see, look at that. It's so bad that it shows everything, but it's all right there. And then okay, I'll show a picture of ourselves. This is something I want to talk about. This has helped a ton. Wealth Tender, Brian Thorpe, team over there, they've done amazing work on being able to capture reviews. I do have some reviews. People started posting them on Google. Not every state can do this. I know this is all changing very rapidly. Texas is one that we have. This certainly doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
Actually, it helps. It helps a ton.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Virginia's one that doesn't allow for it. They didn't conform with the SEC,
I think that's
guidelines
changing
around
though.
it.
There was an interesting. I saw his post the other day that
Well,
Virginia's starting to modernize on that. But yeah, shout out to Wealth
we
Tender.
can only hope.
Certainly helps. A compliant way to show them. Obviously, this is a huge help. I love this. If this sounds what you're looking for. A couple other things I do, like I have my services and pricing page, kind of back to like this, just blunt, say it how it is. So it's a little bit of an expanded version of the homepage. We build your service around what you want to cover, how long you want our support, whether you want guidance, implementation, or both. And it's the same crappy collapsible section from Squarespace that I think you see the theme. Like they don't like, it doesn't look terrible, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
But it just speaks. It's just we're answering. Like I think yours is probably even better, but people generally know what you do, and I don't disqualify the type of person as much. I don't have so much of like a retirement, 10 years and out type of niche. But like what I do very intentionally is I want to disqualify certain mentalities. So like I'm wearing a T-shirt in this video completely on purpose. If a suit is necessary, you're out. I want you out right away. Like just. Uh, yeah, this video, yourself, raw, this was one shot. I did script it out a little bit before, but like, just be you. I am a massive fan of showing people showing themselves up front, because really, especially if you're a smaller solo operator, you're kind of the product in a way. You know, they're buying the relationship with you. And so like, let them see you, let them hear you think. And so I tried a few blogs. Sorry, getting my things in the way. I tried it. I like the video stuff. Yeah, I haven't posted much in a while. Didn't hurt anything. Um, so yeah, I think biggest thing I would say, like, both of our websites seem to work, right? Like, or they have for us. They're not over designed. They're very literal. The graphics are relevant if there are any. Um, and I love, like, people generally are, when people schedule an intro call, like, they've got most of the information,
Hmm.
like there's not like as much checking. It's kind of like a confirming you're a real person. Like, I mean, a little bit of that, like, let's just have that initial talk. But like, I think, um, being raw and authentic. Also, the probably the biggest thing is just your ability to attract is equal to your ability to repel. So you have
Mm.
to turn some people off if you want to turn some people on. It's just, you have to do it, and don't be, almost lean into it. Like, ooh, this is going to disqualify some people. Good.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Just good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we, especially folks starting out, from scratch, we spend so much effort on marketing because we don't have any clients yet. And how are
Yeah.
you going to get clients? And that's a real fear. And you got all this time on your hands because you don't have any clients that you're actually serving. I think, time is better spent. Like, if you're going to be spending time on marketing, like, spend time honing the message
Yeah.
rather than the delivery vehicle. Like, I think there are so many different, like, apps and or services that will help you pump content out there, or make posting on different social media sites efficient, and scheduling it ahead of time. And on one hand, that's great, and that's probably the kinds of tools that professionals use. But especially early on, like, I think your time is so much better spent crafting the message and how you're going to speak to that ideal client rather than focusing on the packaging.
You've got to have something interesting to say. Otherwise, none of it matters. And, yeah, I completely agree. Like, I think we all strive for, like, oh, I have my uh, couple hours a week. I sit down and batch my content for the month. What I mean, that's fine. And there's some great services. Sage is doing some cool stuff on the video, but like, you don't have to do any of that. Like, that's kind of like, it works obviously, but like, there's also a simpler way of, like, just build a simple website that clearly answers what people want to know, and share some interesting thoughts. Video, podcasts, blogs.
Yeah. And if you're not the kind of person that's going to go and design your own Squarespace, that's fine. Like, there are plenty of great designers out
Yeah.
there that will help you make it look good, but they can't write I mean, they can try to write the content for you, but it's going to come across as generic because it wasn't you that wrote it. And they so the time that you spend, the more you can spend time on actually developing that message and the
Yeah.
kind of points you want to get across. And um that makes their job easier. It makes your content better. It makes everything flow way better than if you just outsource that completely.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, like, useful and beautiful is like the, like, two, like, obviously a useful and beautiful content website, all that is great. Useful but ugly is way better than beautiful and worthless.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have a freaking HTML website up there that would probably work. I mean, like, I was gonna say you don't have to have a website. I know a handful of older advisors, but they just have a built-in, like, advantage that you couldn't just recreate today. But yeah, there's some great website designers. Buddy Colton does great work at Slices. And then, yeah, there's some other ones, but like, yeah, you got to help Colton help you though. If you don't know what you want to say, he can try to help you find out, but you got to have, you got to have something to say. So,
Yeah.
um, that's good. Anything else on the marketing side? Again, we're not the experts on this, but I think We both gotten a few results with just everything we've said. Just speak to the person. Don't be afraid to repel. Have something interesting to say. You said kind of like the spiritual stuff, or like kind of there's the tech. Like if you think about like this is our make the most of your money framework, but there's like technical knowledge, behavioral implementation, and spiritual. Is it all working towards the life you want? Like probably the behavioral and spiritual stuff connects more than just a here's how a Roth conversion works. Is that would you say that's fair?
100%. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's in some sense it's good. I've used those more technical blog posts later, when I have a client that's actually going to do a Roth conversion. Oh, here, check out the blog post I wrote 2 years ago on why Roth conversions work and why it might be a good fit for you. So it's still like evergreen content that I can go
Yeah.
back to and send to people. But those, I would get zero responses from that blog post, or if I sent that
I
out as a newsletter.
I'll bet you that's a good one for people to just kind of be able to check. Like, okay, yeah, he showed his technical chops here. I don't, it's not bad to have a couple of those just to show that you can talk about it.
Sure, yeah, but
Well,
like
although
maybe
I
one
don't
in
think
three
writing about it
or
anymore
one
doesn't
in
mean that you
four.
know anything. Sorry, go
And
ahead.
if you're going to write about it in a way that, brings it home to people, talk about a real client situation, change the names, or
Yeah.
make up a client that's interesting, or tell personal stories around it. It's not just the dry technical, here's what the text code says, here's how you do it. That's just making it better writing.
You also said evergreen though, like not a lot of topical content. We're not talking about news, world events, things of that nature. I think you did something around elections, but it was probably just kind of like elections in general, not so much like that election. And so I think that's a huge advantage too, because then it's evergreen and it's also repurposable. Like, okay, I've had this conversation 10 times. Let me codify it basically with a post or a video. And that's great.
Yeah, I steer away from current events intentionally, and I don't send out, here's my thoughts on today's market. I know plenty of advisors that do, and it can
Yeah.
work. I I don't I don't believe in my ability to predict what the markets are doing, and there's so many other sources for people to get that content that they don't necessarily need it from me too.
Yeah. Um, that I'm going to show something time on the website here. I actually have a page on I go into a little more detail on some of these other ones, but I talk about this is my investing page, and I have our 4 core investment beliefs. Markets go up over the long run, up and down the short run. Where I was going with this is like I try to be very upfront that I'm not that guy
Yeah.
that thinks they know. Like I don't know. I think this is another one of like people don't see this coming to me asking for market performance. So don't be afraid to show that. Like if you
Yeah, and in some sense, it's like training the prospects, and then even once they become
absolutely.
clients, that like I'm not going to be the one reaching out to you
Yeah.
with new tips on how we're going to redo your portfolio for the latest trends in the
But
market.
if you do that, then go for
If you do
it.
that, great. If that's your
Yeah.
core competency, if that's
Yeah.
why people are attracted to you, sure. I got other questions for
Yeah.
you, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's the market we operate in, and that's actually what people think they want, or think they need. I think what you do such a good job of on the podcast, and how you like clearly frame it for people, is like, no, this is actually what you should care about. You may think you want advice on what's happening in AI stocks, or what's the next 6 months in the S&P going to do, but what you actually need is like clarity and peace of mind. um
Yeah. I
so
think
there's
that's
there's
some like
there's some intentionality there too.
that's like kind of like type like Cordora piece. Like if you look at the outputs of Cordora, it's very question based. Like where's my money going? How am I protected against major threats? Like that use their language. Like the people aren't wanting an insurance review. They're like, am I protected? Like an investment allocation review. Am I taking the right amount of risk? Like answer their question. That's worked very well for me, I guess I would say. Just like using their terms of like, here's what we're actually here to answer. And it helps you too, because like you can get lost with all the details. Like, what's the core question we're trying to answer? What decision are we trying to make at the end of this? That's it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's cool that that starts with marketing. It starts developing that in the client or in the prospect, developing that attitude or with the marketing. Obviously, I think with all of this, coming back to what we said at the beginning, is like really starting with how you serve your clients
Yeah. Yeah.
first and then working upstream to marketing. There's no way you can figure out a marketing strategy that's going to be successful at like repelling clients who aren't going to be a good fit and attracting the ones that will, if you haven't gotten clear on what it is that you actually do for your clients in the first place. So start with that, then work up to your prospecting process, then figure out marketing, which is the total opposite order of the way that people are starting their new firms think about things in. But I, I'm convicted that that's the right way to do it.
Nice. I love it, man. Good stuff. Appreciate it as always. Anything else you want to say?
You've exhausted my marketing knowledge.
That's it.
I have nothing else.
He's out of gas. That was painful for Colin, but thank you for your insights. It's always good to learn from you. Appreciate it. And I will see you next time.
See you next time.